Okay, for second person tenses. The second person pronouns in English is represented by you, which in Arabic will differ into several pronouns. And I have explained this in a previous lesson. I'll leave the link to you. Okay, let's start with singular masculine tense in the second person. And we'll start with the present tense for the second person. The pronoun will be included. The example is anta, which means you for singular masculine. تكتب, write. الشعر, poetry. ليلا, at night. تكتب here in the present tense, and it is for the second person singular. What we have changed in the root here, I write it again to make the comparison. And as always, it is 3 fatha on the kaf, ta and ba. But here it changes to sukun, dhamma and dhamma. تكتب, we added ta to the root and changed the diacritic into sukun, dhamma and another dhamma. The next example for singular feminine. Notice that it's anta for you for singular masculine, anti for you for singular feminine. And this is the pronoun. We'll continue on the verb in the present form. تكتبين, anti تكتبين. You write for singular feminine. الشعر ليلا, you write poetry. What we have changed in the root, we added ta, and at the end of the root we added ya, the medial form of the letter ya, and the final form of the letter nun. تكتبين, أنت تكتبين, you write. الشعر, poetry, and ليلا means at night. The next example for dual masculine and feminine, and of course in the present tense. The next example is أنتما. This is for dual masculine and feminine. أنتما تكتبان, write. الشعر, poetry. ببراعة, brilliantly. أنتما تكتبان الشعر ببراعة, you write poetry brilliantly. So what we have changed in the root, we added ta at the beginning with fatha on the top of it. We added ba, the medial form, alif, the final form, and nun in the isolated form. تكتباني. And this is in the present tense for dual masculine and feminine for the second person, for the one who is being addressed or being talked to. Let's move to the plural masculine example. Here, أنتم, this is for plural masculine. تكتبون, write. And this is in the present tense for plural masculine for the second person, the one who is being addressed. You write. أنتم تكتبون الشعر ببراعة. You write poetry brilliantly. What we added to the root is we added ta, waw and nun. Ta in the beginning of the root, waw and nun at the end. The next example is for plural feminine. This is called the shadda, which means that we can double pronounce the sound. Antunna, antunna, which means you for plural masculine. تكتبن, write. And we also added shadda and fatha on the top of it, which means that we have double sound for the noon, for the nah sound. تكتبن الشعر ببراعة. You write poetry brilliantly. We add ta at the beginning with fatha, and we add the final form of the letter noon with shadda, the symbol, on the top of it. Let's now move to the past tense for the second person. I'll start with singular masculine. Anta, as you know, this is you for singular masculine. كتبت, you wrote. هذه, this. الرسالة, message. You write this message. كتبت is the past form for the singular masculine, for the one who is being addressed, for the second person. What we added to the root is the letter ta and fatha on the top of it. I guess you have memorized the root for the word write, which is kataba, because I already wrote it several times. The second example for the singular feminine. Anti is for you for the singular feminine. كتبتي, wrote, for singular feminine in the past tense. هذه الرسالة, this message. You wrote this message. أنتِ كتبتِ هذه الرسالة. Let's take the next example for the dual masculine and feminine. أنتما for dual masculine or feminine. كتبتما, wrote. هذه الرسالة, you wrote this message. كتبتما is the verb form for the dual masculine. What we added to the root is the letter ta, mim, and alif, and we changed the diacritics. Okay, let's move to the plural masculine. أنتم كتبتم هذه الرسالة. أنتم means you for plural masculine. كتبتم, wrote. You wrote this message. And this is the past form for the second person for the plural masculine. The next one is plural feminine. أنتن, notice the shadda again. أنتن, you for plural masculine. كتبتن, and we can notice the shadda here as well. كتبتن, you wrote this message. هذه الرسالة. أنتن كتبتن. Notice what we have added in both the plural masculine and the plural feminine for the past verb form. We added in the plural masculine, we added ta and mim, and in the plural feminine, we added ta and noon, in addition to shadda. Okay, now let's move to the future form for the second person. As we mentioned before, that we add sah or sawfa to the root to make the future tense. And we can change some letters. We can change the diacritics and add some letters for different variations of this verb. The first example is for the singular masculine. I'm going to use the verb fahima. And this is the root, which means understood. The first case is for the singular masculine. ستفهم ما قلته لك فيما بعد. ستفهم ما قلته لك فيما بعد. ستفهم here, you will understand. ما قلته, what I said, لك, to you, فيما بعد, later. فيما بعد means later. You will understand what I said to you later. What we have changed, we added sa, which is known for the future, and we added ta, and we added the medial form of the letter ta at the beginning of the root. ستفهم. The next example is for the singular feminine. Okay. ستفهمين ما قلته لك فيما بعد. Let's focus on the first shape of the future. As we mentioned, we add sin for the future and ta. At the end, which differs from the masculine case, we added ya and nun. ستفهمين ما قلته لك, not لك. لك for the male, لك for male, and لك for female, to you. ستفهمين ما قلته لك فيما بعد. You will understand what I said to you later. Okay, the next example is for the dual masculine and feminine. ستفهمان ما قلته لكما فيما بعد. ستفهمان is here for dual masculine or feminine. You will understand, which means you will understand for dual masculine or feminine. ما قلته, what I said, لكما, this word لكما, for you, for dual masculine and feminine. فيما بعد, later. What we added to the root here is that we added sa, which is for the future, and ta. At the end of the root, we added alif and nun. Next example is for plural masculine. ستفهمون, will understand, for plural masculine. ما قلته, what I said, لكم, for you, for the plural masculine. فيما بعد, later. What we added to the root here is that we added sin for the future, as you know, and then we added ta. At the end of the root, we added waw and nun. Nun, ستفهمون, you will understand, for plural masculine. The last example is for plural feminine. ستفهمن, ستفهمن, you will understand, for plural feminine. ما قلته, what I said, لكن, لكن here for you, for plural feminine. فيما بعد, later. ستفهمن ما قلته لكن فيما بعد. You will understand what I told you, what I said to you later. Okay, let's make a quick revision for the what we have added to the root to make the future tense for the second person. I'll mark the letters with a different color. We added sin and ta. ستفهم, ستفهم, you will understand. Here we added sa and ta. Then we added ya and nun. ستفهمين. I'll leave the root in black. Here we added sin and ta, and then we added alif and nun. ستفهماني, Here we added sa and ta, then we added waw and nun. ستفهمون. You will understand for the plural masculine. We added sin, ta, nun, and I forgot to write the shadda. ستفهمن. ستفهمن ما قلته لكن. Now let's move to the imperative cases, and this is only for the second person. And let's start with the singular masculine. اكتب الاسم من فضلك. Here you ask someone to do something, so you use the imperative form. You ask him to write his name. اكتب الاسم, write the name من فضلك, please, or excuse me, write the name. Notice that we only added the alif without hamza here. Hamzat wasl to the root, which means alif without hamza. The next example is for the singular feminine. اكتبي الاسم من فضلك. Please write the name. What we added here is Hamzat wasl, which is alif without hamza, and ya, the final form of the letter ya. اكتبي, write your name. You ask a lady or ask a girl to write the names. Okay, for dual masculine and feminine, if you want to ask two girls or two guys to write the name, so you say اكتبا. اكتبا الاسم من فضلكما. Now let's see what we have added to the root. We added Hamzat wasl, which is alif without hamza, and we added the final form of the letter alif. اكتبا. اكتبا الاسم من فضلكما. Write the name, please. You ask two girls or two boys. Let's move to the next example, and this is for plural masculine. اكتبوا الاسم من فضلكم. You ask a group of men or a group of boys to write the name. You ask them اكتبوا, write. اكتبوا الاسم, write the name. من فضلكم. And notice the change of the word here. من فضلكم, please. Okay, let's see what we have added to the roots. We added Hamzat wasl, alif without hamza, and we had the waw and the separate form of the letter alif. اكتبوا. The next example is for plural feminine. You ask a group of women or a group of girls to write the names. اكتبنا الاسم من فضلكن. And notice the shadda here. What we added here to the root is Hamzat wasl, alif without hamza, and we also added nun. اكتبنا الاسم من فضلكن. Write the name, please. Thank you for watching, and see you in part 3. I hope that this lesson would be beneficial for you, and if so, press the like button and subscribe in the channel if you are not subscribed. See you in the next lesson.